Here's one that'll make you stay awake tonight. How many have you missed because you couldn't catch the signs? How many women were nearly screaming, "I'm interested," in their own subtle manner, and you were just standing there entirely clueless? I'm not judging. I've been the clueless man more times than I care to remember. The lady in the cafe who happened to appear at exactly the same moment every 3 consecutive days. The buddy who continuously looked for excuses to text me at midnight. The colleague who overlaughed at my worst jokes, all sending messages that I didn't catch. Today, I'm sharing you the translation rulebook I wished someone had provided me with. The 10 unmistakable things women do when they're interested in you. Not the on-the-surface stuff you're already aware of, but the subtle behaviors which really count. Let's learn to decode this language. Before we dive in, if you're ready to finally stop missing signals and start mastering the game, hit that subscribe button right now. You won't want to miss what's coming next. 1. The time investment. Time is the only thing that can't be faked. Consider this. We're all too busy, stretched to the max, and simultaneously pulled in myriad directions. Our schedules resemble surrealist paintings. Therefore, if a woman persists in making time for you, that's not courtesy. That's deliberate. I recall this lady that I hung out with for months. We'd get coffee every now and then, nothing out of the ordinary. But all of a sudden, she began inviting me to hang out twice a week rather than once a month. She'd reply right away rather than ghosting for days. She'd turn our coffee dates from 30 minutes to 3 hours. At first, I thought nothing of it. Maybe she just had more free time, right? Wrong. She was deliberately carving out space in her life for me. And that's the key distinction. It wasn't just about showing up. It was about showing up enthusiastically. Women who are into you don't just squeeze you in. They make you a priority. They'll adjust schedules, stay up later than they need to, get up earlier than they want to. They'll write back to your messages even if they're busy. They'll recall the details of your conversation and check in about them. 2. The physical tells. Let's discuss something primal, something that cuts through all our advanced social conditioning. Bodily proximity. Our bodies have a tendency to deceive what our words can't confess. If a woman is attracted to you, her body rushes in toward yours as if there were an invisible magnetic attraction. It's physics, but it's chemistry too. I was at this dinner party one time with this woman I'd known for years. We'd always had wonderful conversation, but something was off that evening. All evening long, I noticed she kept finding excuses to touch my arm when she laughed. She'd lean in too close when I was talking. Our knees kept bumping into each other under the table. These weren't big, sweeping gestures. They were tiny moments of contact, but they meant everything. Watch for this. Does she make excuses to touch you? A tap on the shoulder, adjusting your collar, brushing something off your coat? Does she sit closer to you than she needs to? Does she position her body towards you in a group so that it feels like your conversation is in its own little private bubble? 3. The questions that never end. Ever notice how, when you're really interested in someone, you turn into an amateur detective? You want to know everything. Their childhood memories, their biggest fears, their strange food combinations, their hopes for the future. When a woman is interested in you, she gets extremely interested in your life. Not only the best parts, but the marginalia as well. I used to date this woman who knew more about my family situation than my therapist. She'd recall offhand remarks I'd made weeks before and ask me about them. Hey, how was your sister's job interview? Or, wasn't your fantasy football draft today? Initially, I believed she was being courteous. But then it dawned on me that she was mapping out my life, making a mental note of everything about me. Women who are interested don't ask shallow questions. They ask deeper questions. They don't ask you what you do for a living. They ask why you do what you do. They don't ask you what you're doing for the weekend. They ask whom you're going out with and how you met them. They're establishing context, making connections. 4. The vulnerability exchange. Here's something I've learned over the years. When we like someone, we begin to take emotional risks. We expose aspects of ourselves we normally hide. When a woman likes you, she starts to drop her guard. She reveals things she only tells select people. And it's not necessarily the big, dramatic revelations. Sometimes it's the little, seemingly insignificant details that really carry the most weight. I recall this one woman I was seeing who always had this aura of being together. Perfect career, perfect apartment, perfect life. But one evening, eating terrible takeout, she told me about sleeping with her dad's stuffed animal because he gave it to her before he died. About how sometimes she calls her mom just to hear the sound of her voice when she feels lost. About how she's afraid she'll never find her purpose. In that instant, something shifted between us. She wasn't providing information. She was giving trust. Women who are attracted to you will begin to show you their true selves, their fears, their aspirations, their contradictions. They'll discuss the moment they humiliated themselves during a work presentation. They'll tell you about their insecurities as children. They'll confess the guilty pleasures they don't share with the world. 5. The regular contact. In our hyper-connected world, we're bombarded with notifications, messages, and demands for our attention. So, when a woman repeatedly reaches out to you in all this noise, when she pierces the din to make contact, that means something. I once had a friend who would message me random messages during the day. Not so much the same old "what's up" small talk, but actual items. A song that reminded her of something I'd said one time. A picture of a dog that bore resemblance to my own. A news article having to do with something I'd said I was interested in. At first, I didn't pay much attention. Just polite conversation, right? But then I caught on to something significant. She was always searching for excuses to link. She was making bridges between her world and mine. She was communicating without necessarily saying, "You're on my mind." Women who are interested establish consistent communication patterns. They don't simply reply to your messages, they start conversations. They don't sit back and wait for you to make every effort. They call first. They text you good morning. They call to see how you did after your critical meeting. They send you random thoughts that came to mind about you. 6. The friends and family incorporation. When a person begins to introduce you to their inner circle, they're not being friendly for no reason. They're bringing you into their world. They're telling you, you're not temporary. You're someone I want to connect to my world. I recall this lady I went out with who, within a matter of weeks, asked me to attend her friend's birthday dinner. I didn't give it much thought then, just assumed she needed a +1. And then I saw how she presented me to the rest of the people. She had been speaking about me to her friends. She had been making room for me in discussions I wasn't even a part of. Women who are interested in how you fit into their larger life. They want to know what their friends think. They want to see you in various social situations. They want to know if there's a sense of match between the individual they're falling for and the people they already love. Because when a woman is really into you, she doesn't just want you in her life. She wants you sewn into the very fabric of her reality. She wants the people she cares about to love you too. That sort of integration isn't flip. It's deliberate. It's meaningful. 7. The future reference. There's something deeply revealing in the way human beings discuss the future. What we say, what we presuppose, the proposals we offer. Everything is a giveaway for our true agendas. When you have a woman interested in you, she begins sowing seeds for future linkage. She intertwines you in her tomorrow. I used to be dating this woman who kept saying, "next time," in our conversations. Next time we should go to that new restaurant. Next time we should see that movie. Next time I'll show you the pictures from my trip. It was subtle, but clear. She was establishing continuity, expecting there to be more of us together. Women who are interested don't just live in the moment with you. They look ahead. They say something about concerts a month or two off and suggest, offhandedly, that you both go. They speak about places they want to introduce you to someday. They use "we" when they're talking about upcoming events. 8. The jealousy signals. Let's discuss something primal: jealousy. That gut, visceral feeling when someone else enters the sphere of someone we're interested in. When a woman is interested in you, she notices when other women are too. And sometimes, despite her best efforts, that awareness shows. I recall being at a bar with this woman I'd been casually dating. We hadn't established anything. But when the bartender began flirting with me, I could sense something change in her behavior. Her laughter became a bit forced. She moved closer to me. She made excuses to touch my arm to remind the bartender she was there. She never said a word about it, but her body language said it all. Women who are interested tune into possible competition. They may casually inquire about your female friends. They may become less talkative when you bring up an ex. They may linger a little too long on that picture of you and another woman. 9. The effort elevation. In an age of shortcuts and convenience, true effort is noticed. It's simple to double-tap a like button or shoot off a speedy text. But consistent, quality effort? That doesn't happen often. If a woman is really interested in you, she takes her effort to the next level. She does more than what's required. She notices the little things that are important to you. I went out with this girl who recalled after a passing reference that I adored this unknown band from the 90s. 3 months later, on my birthday, she presented me with a used vinyl of their debut album. She'd searched for weeks. It wasn't costly, but it was particular. It was proof that she'd been listening, actually listening. Women who care make an effort that's made to you. They recall your coffee order. They pay attention when you speak about a book you wish to read and later ask you more about it. They organize dates according to your interests, not theirs. 10. The unguarded laughter. There is something revelatory about real laughter. Not the forced smile we employ in business, but that raw, unrestrained sound that wells up from some place sincere. When a woman likes you, her laughter shifts. It happens more. It sounds more real, more physically present. I recall this woman I had been friends with for years prior to dating. We'd always had great talk, but there was this one moment, this particular moment that I still remember, when something changed. I told some ridiculous bad joke, the sort that will get an eye roll at best, but she didn't simply smile politely. She laughed, actually laughed, with her entire body, head thrown back, eyes crinkled. That kind of full-on surrender laughter you can't help but do. Women who are interested laugh more freely around you. They find humor in your average jokes. They enjoy your particular style of wit. They remember amusing incidents you've shared and quote them later. There you have it. 10 things women do when they're really interested in you. Not the push-pull signs you've heard 1,000 times before, but the subtle, genuine actions that actually translate into meaning. Don't miss it. Don't ignore it. Don't tell yourself it's nothing. And, most importantly, if you feel the same way, don't be afraid to show it. Because the most tragic love stories aren't the ones that end poorly. They're the ones that never start at all. If this video made you realize these signs better, subscribe and tell us your experiences in the comments. Let me know which of these signs you've seen or missed in your life. And tune in next week when we'll be talking about the flip side. The signs you may be unconsciously pushing away someone who's interested in you. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.